business seminar.
Yeah.
Yes, cannabis, pretty awesome, isn't it? So you guys know why we're here tonight. You know what this event is all about. It's about that beautiful sticky green herb, cannabis, sativa, and indica, and all the other different strains and hybrids, and you know the smokable herb and the extracts and the edibles and the tinctures, and you know it comes in so many different forms, and that's what brought us all of us out here tonight. So we're going to talk about the cannabis industry, right? The legal industry as it exists in many states around this country, including right here in New York, whether it's California, Massachusetts, Washington, Colorado. We're going to be touching on all different issues in the cannabis industry today, and we're going to try to look into the future a little bit and try to give a forecast for how things are going to be looking a few years from now. So we're going to have a presentation coming up soon, presented by Scott, where he's going to talk all about the business and entrepreneurship side of the industry. And then later in the night, we're going to have our star-studded guest speaker panel, where you'll have the chance to hear from a whole bunch of experts, people in law, in government, in business, and they'll share their expertise in cannabis. And I have no doubt that you'll walk out of this room tonight having done a lot of learning and a lot of connecting. Because at the end of the night, we're also going to have our networking event. So make sure you stick around for that, because that's going to be your opportunity to meet and greet not only the guest speakers and presenters, but all of your neighbors, right? So this event is as much about these guys as it is about all of you, because you're a part of this industry, you're a part of this movement. So let's all get to know each other and get each other's phone numbers and emails, yeah? Okay, so this event is hosted for you by Students for Sensible Drug Policy. Who knows what Students for Sensible Drug Policy is? You do. I know you do. Anyone else? Who doesn't know? Oh, okay. All right. So awesome. SSDP, Students for Sensible Drug Policy, is an international, grassroots, student-led, campus-based organization with the mission of ending the war on drugs and undoing the damages that it has caused. Right? And we do this through education, through activism, through volunteering, on campus and outside of campus. So we're very happy to be hosting this event for you here. Our other host for tonight's event is the Cannabis and Hemp Association. Hopefully you guys know a little about them. CHA was founded right here in New York City by Scott Giannotti. And their goal as an organization is to bring together and connect all different players in the cannabis industry, whether it's entrepreneurs, doctors, business people, or people that have no experience at all but are just trying to break their foot into the industry. And they do events all over New York and all around the country, and I think even outside the country, right? Yep. That basically do what we're doing here tonight, bringing people together, educating, making connections. So, and we really want to thank CHA for being a part of this event. They really did a lot of work promoting it. They invited all of our guest speakers, and they had a huge hand in helping you all get here tonight. So I want to thank CHA for their work. Yeah. So SSTP has a history going back almost 20 years at this point of fighting the war on drugs and fighting the damages that it has caused. I had a joke earlier this semester that for our chapter here at NYU that we might consider changing the name of our chapter to 420 Squad, because we figured if we did that, I would estimate we would probably get about 10 times as many people as we get now. But I think it's important to recognize that the struggle for cannabis, right, what we're all out here tonight for, that struggle goes beyond just cannabis. It goes beyond just that one drug. This is a struggle for all drugs, and for all drug users, and for all people who have been harmed by our nation's drug policies. SSTP, its goal as an organization is to decriminalize all drugs. We all have, we have different ideas about which ones should be legalized. I'm not going to get into that. But I think we can safely say that we all want full decriminalization of all controlled substances. We don't want one more person put in prison for drugs, and we don't want one more child taken out of school because of a drug crime. So that's what we as an organization do. When you're sticking around for the networking later tonight, I want you to keep an eye out for some of the younger faces in the crowd. The students that are here tonight, right? Because they're the future of this industry, and really they're the future of this country. They've already been doing a lot of the work that's gotten us to where we are today, right? They've been lobbying, they've been volunteering, they've been being active, they've been getting involved. So get to know their names, get to know their faces. Whether it's my friend Leland, who went and formed a chapter at his college, Baruch, because he wanted to get more involved in activism and inspire other students to get involved in activism. Or talk to my friend Savvy here, who's helped me run our chapter here at NYU and has helped us educate other students about drugs and about cannabis and about drug policy. Talk to my friend Andrew, who's interested in breaking into the business and real estate side of the industry. He's a very bright, intelligent man with a lot of great ideas. Get to know these people, okay? Because they're going to be the ones tasked with fighting the struggle for sensible drug policy. So get their numbers before you wait too long and you have to talk to their interns. I want to kind of put tonight where we are right now in a historical perspective, right? Because 20 years ago, could we have been having this conversation? No, right? There was no legal cannabis market anywhere in the United States of America, right? 10 years ago, our conversation would have been limited to the minority of states that had, at the time, only medicinal cannabis, right? 4 years ago, when President Obama was re-elected, we could only talk about legal adult use markets in 2 states, right? A couple of years ago, that number increased to 4 states and the District of Columbia. And now, here we are, November 2016, and we can now have a conversation about adult use markets in 8 states and medicinal in 29 states. That's a lot of progress for less than 20 years. Woo! But how do we get to this point, right? It wasn't just coincidence. It wasn't because our elected officials woke up one day and realized how terrible cannabis prohibition was and decided they were going to do something about it. It was quite the contrary. For the most part, our elected officials have been the slowest to embrace drug policy change and any reform on cannabis, with some exceptions. For the past 8 years, our current president, Barack Obama, has made no effort to legalize cannabis on the federal level. The best he's done is said that he'll respect individual states' rights. This past summer and fall, I chased around the Hillary Clinton campaign with a bunch of other activists and a 50-foot joint. We went to, yeah, Paul was there too. Where's Paul? There, yeah, he was there. Yeah, he did. We chased Clinton around the Northeast with a 50-foot joint and a letter, hoping that we were going to be able to get one statement from her, just one statement on cannabis. She never made any statement. She completely ignored us. Our incoming president-elect, Donald Trump, he's taken a similar tone to Obama. He said that he's going to respect states' rights to make their own cannabis laws. But he hasn't put forth any proposal to legalize it federally. I hope that changes. So as I said, We didn't get here because the elected officials brought us here. Why did we get here? We got here because we fought tooth and nail. It was us, activists, all of us who got involved. We volunteered. We made phone calls, right? We wrote letters, we wrote emails, op-eds, news articles. We registered voters. We went out and we educated people. We had events like this one. We drove up to Albany to speak to the state legislature. We went to Washington, D.C. We went to city councils. We had those difficult discussions. And probably most importantly, we educated people in our own lives. We had the conversations with our friends, our family, people who we thought we would never be able to convince that this prohibition policy is insane and unjust and has to come to an end. But we did convince them, and they joined our cause, and they lent us their support. And that's how it's going to continue. This movement has been and will continue to be a movement of the people, a grassroots movement, resisting through democratic processes peacefully for the change that they want. It doesn't matter who's in the White House, who's in Congress, who's in the governor's office. That's not going to change. No one's going to pass us a joint. We're going to have to learn how to roll one. Okay? So take another hit, and then put down the joint, put down the pipe, get out of the house, and get involved. Open a business. Go to a rally. Hold more educational seminars like this one. Go and talk to your legislators. But while you're out there having those conversations, remember why you started on this path in the first place. Why you came out here tonight. Why you joined this movement. You didn't do this because you wanted to make a lot of money. If that's what you wanted, you would have gone and been an investment banker, or you would have written a hit single for Rihanna. That's where the real money is, right? And you'll never have wanted to make a lot of money. You came here because you want to help people, right? Even if you're interested in the medicinal side of things, if you're a doctor, an engineer, you're not doing this just because you want to cure disease or you want to relieve pain. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is help people. Cannabis is an incredible drug, an incredible plant that has a really powerful ability to bring together all kinds of different people, no matter where they're from, no matter what they do. I've seen it in my own short life. I've experienced it when complete strangers, people that share nothing in common, that have no reason to like each other, all of a sudden when someone breaks out a joint, starts passing around a bong, those divisions, those barriers, they go up in smoke. It's true. I really truly believe that cannabis is a plant that has the potential to make you a more loving person, a more compassionate person. So it's our job as entrepreneurs, as activists, as doctors, to do work that upholds those principles, that keeps that at the forefront of what we're doing. This fight needs us to be more loving and more compassionate to all people, no matter where they're from, what they are, what they do. It's not good enough. It's not enough to just be successful. It's not good enough to just be profitable. It's not enough to just be innovative. We have to strive for more than that. We have to be responsible. Responsible to our workers, to all classes of people, to all groups of people, to our country, to all countries, and to the environment. Okay, so that means we're not going to accept a regulatory framework that benefits the wealthiest corporations, investors, and venture capitalists, while the low-income and working class are shut out of the industry. That means we're not going to open the doors of our dispensaries while thousands are still locked behind doors for non-violent drug crimes. That means we're not going to operate our businesses and run state regulatory frameworks that discriminate against people with non-violent drug crime histories. That means that as business people, as activists, we're not going to ignore the racial disparity in drug arrests that disproportionately impact low-income communities of color, the most vulnerable members of our society. That means we're not going to be satisfied treating a child in California for epilepsy and then turning a blind eye when a child in Texas is taken away from their parents just because they used cannabis. Yeah. That means we're not going to grow our crops from the earth without using sustainable practices that respect the environment, the atmosphere, and the ecosystem. That's right. So, remember why you're here. Remember why you started on this path. What brought you out here tonight? And what's going to keep you going forward. This is about so much more than just cannabis. This is about justice for our entire society, our country, for all countries. And that's what keeps us doing what we're doing. Amen. So don't let money, don't let power, don't let access, don't let success cloud your mind. Because the only clouds in the room should be the sweet-smelling ones coming from your pipe. Thank you.
Now I have to top that, huh? Jeez. Alright. So I'm going to talk while I wire myself up. I wasn't going to do this, but he got me riled up. I don't know about you guys.